Imagine waking up to find your life savings, enough yesterday to buy a house, now barely buys a loaf of bread. Your paycheck, worthless by the time it lands in your account. People are hauling cash in wheelbarrows, not wallets. This isn't dystopian fiction, it's hyperinflation, and it's happened more often than most realize. We think of money as stable, but history shows the truth: currency is fragile. And the worst, hyperinflations didn't just destroy bank accounts, they shattered governments, families, and even empires. Today, you'll see 5 nations that watched their money collapse into ash and what it cost their citizens. Let's start with Germany, 1923. The Weimar Republic was crushed by war reparations after World War I, 132 billion gold marks. How did they respond? Printing presses ran non-stop. At first, inflation was manageable. Then prices doubled, tripled, exploded. By November 1923, a loaf of bread cost 200 billion marks. Families burned cash for warmth, children played with stacks of money, lifetimes of savings vanished in weeks. But the deeper damage wasn't just money, it was trust. Once a society loses faith in its currency, commerce collapses, contracts fail, salaries vanish, savings evaporate. Chaos followed, creating fertile ground for extremism, setting the stage for Hitler's rise a decade later. Next, Zimbabwe, early 2000s. Land seizures destroyed agriculture, sanctions crippled trade. The government's response: the printing press. Inflation skyrocketed. By 2008, it hit 79.6 billion%. Prices doubled daily. Cash became worthless. Bills added zeros faster than anyone could count: 10 million, 100 billion, 100. Eventually, the government abandoned its own currency, switching to dollars and rand. Real wealth, land, skills, hard assets was all that survived. Back in Europe, Hungary, 1946, experienced the worst hyperinflation in recorded history. Post-World War II, the pengo became a joke, prices doubling every 15 hours. Inflation reached 41.9 quadrillion%. 1 million pengo became 1 mil pengo. 1 billion pengo became 1 b pengo. Still insufficient. Eventually, the forint replaced the currency. Hungary's middle class was annihilated, savings erased, trust destroyed. Hyperinflation didn't just reset the economy, it erased the past. Fast forward to Venezuela, 2010's present. Rich in oil yet politically fractured, the country fell into financial ruin. Corruption, price controls, and reckless monetary policy caused the currency to collapse. By 2018, inflation exceeded 1 million%. Paychecks lost value by the hour, supermarkets emptied, doctors, engineers, and skilled workers fled. Government-issued bills added zeros endlessly. Again, only those holding tangible assets or foreign currency survived. Millions were displaced. Finally, Yugoslavia, 1990s. After the breakup of the Soviet bloc, war, sanctions, and mismanagement destroyed the economy. By 1993, inflation soared to 313 million% per month, doubling every 1.4 days. The government introduced new currencies repeatedly, wiping out savings. Citizens relied on German marks and US dollars just to survive. The official currency became worthless, useful only for burning or wallpapering abandoned shops. Look closely. The pattern is unmistakable. Crisis hits. Governments print money, trust evaporates, currency collapses. Societies fracture. It's the same story across decades and continents. You might think we've learned it won't happen here. But global debt is at record highs. The US alone carries over $34 trillion. Central banks have spent the last decade printing trillions to prop up economies and suppress interest rates. For a while it seemed to work. Inflation stayed low. Growth continued. The system held until it didn't. By 2021-2022, prices surged. Supply chain shocks, war in Ukraine, energy spikes, and years of printed money collided. Central banks raised rates to contain inflation. Markets wobbled. Everyday people, those who hadn't benefited from cheap money, felt the squeeze. Rent soared, food prices climbed, wages lagged, questions resurfaced. What is money? Who controls it? What happens if trust breaks? We're not in full hyperinflation yet, but warning signs are clear. Thinking money can be printed endlessly, debt will never hurt, or central banks will always save the day is the same delusion repeated in Weimar Germany, Zimbabwe, Venezuela, and beyond. Today, the scale is global. If trust collapses now, it won't be one nation, it could ripple worldwide. So what can you do? What lessons survive these catastrophes? First, real wealth isn't paper. Its purchasing power: land, skills, hard assets, networks, and resilience. Those with tangible value endured, those who relied on currency alone didn't. Second, trust is everything. Currencies fail not because ink fades, but because belief dies. That belief erodes faster than expected and is nearly impossible to restore. Third, inflation punishes the unprepared. It moves fast, compounds relentlessly, and hits paycheck to paycheck households hardest. Governments can inflate debt away, but you can't shrink your grocery bill magically. Protection today means understanding the system. Reduce unnecessary exposure to debt. Diversify assets, not just stocks, but across systems and even currencies. Learn skills that hold value regardless of market swings. Build a life that costs less to sustain. Recognize inflation for what it is: a hidden tax, a slow theft of your financial freedom. Hyperinflation isn't random. It's caused by bad policy, war, denial, arrogance, and the seductive lie that money can be created without consequence. Now you know the pattern, and the next time someone says that could never happen here, you'll see it differently. History doesn't repeat, but if ignored, it will crush you all the same. If this gave you a new perspective, hit subscribe. History has the answers, and I'll show you where to look.